You know the one I'm talking about, right? That car on the corner that hasn't moved in weeks, slowly collecting dust and a few parking tickets. Have you ever actually stopped and wondered, what's its story? Well, today, we're going to follow the surprisingly complex journey of a problem car, right from the moment its engine goes silent to its final destination.
It's almost like a weird neighborhood landmark, isn't it? That car you walk past every single day. And it's so easy to just assume it's forgotten. But you know what? The moment someone reports it, a whole official process kicks into gear. So let's peel back the curtain and see what really happens next.
So at what point does a car go from just being, well, parked to being a legal nuisance? It's not as simple as you might think. It's not like someone just decides they don't like it. There's a really specific set of rules and a timeline that councils have to follow before they can even think about touching it.
Okay, so what officially makes a car abandoned? It's not just about looking old and dusty. Legally speaking, if we look at council regulations like the ones from Monash, it all boils down to two things. It's parked on public land, and it's either unregistered or it has officially been deemed abandoned. That very specific definition is the key that starts this entire removal process.
Now, here's a little detail that catches a lot of people by surprise. A registered car can legally sit in the very same spot for 2 full months before the council can even consider it abandoned. Yeah, 2 months. So if the owner just lives down the street and doesn't drive much, that car isn't technically a problem, no matter how long you feel like it's been there.
So once a car finally crosses that line, maybe the 2-month mark passes or it turns out it's unregistered, a formal procedure finally begins. But, and this is important, councils can't just send a tow truck right away, unless, of course, the car is a clear and immediate danger to everyone.
The council follows a really clear 4-step process. First, an officer investigates, to confirm the car's status. Then, they have to make a real effort to notify the last registered owner. It's only if that fails that the vehicle gets towed and impounded. And the final step, if it's still unclaimed, is disposal.
And here is the really critical window. Once the car is impounded, the owner has just 14 days to pay the fees and get it back. Just 2 weeks. After that, the council gets the right to either sell it or send it straight to the scrapyard. The clock is seriously ticking.
But let's be real. Not every problem car is abandoned by some mystery owner. Sometimes the problem is yours. Maybe you've broken down, or you've been in an accident, or you just have that old junker sitting in the driveway. Knowing exactly who to call in that moment can save you a ton of time. And let's face it, a lot of money.
It pretty much comes down to 3 different situations. If you see a car that looks abandoned, that's a job for the local council. If you've broken down on the highway, you need a towing service, like right now, to get you to a mechanic or just to safety. But for that old car you want to get rid of, a car wrecker is the one who will actually pay you for it.
Okay, so you need a tow. You just grab your phone and call the first number that pops up, right? Whoa, not so fast. Using the wrong kind of tow truck can actually cause some serious damage to your vehicle, and that can turn a bad day into a much more expensive one.
Look, for most modern cars, especially if you have an all-wheel drive or a luxury model, a flatbed is the gold standard. It's the safest option because it keeps all 4 wheels safely off the road. A wheel lift? That's fine for a quick tow across town. But the old hook and chain? Honestly, that's really reserved for cars that are already on a one-way trip to the scrapyard. And modern towing isn't just for cars anymore. Specialized companies have the gear to handle almost anything you can think of. I'm talking motorcycles, boats, even massive farm tractors and construction excavators. Basically, if it needs to be moved, there's probably a service that can do it.
So let's talk money. What does a tow actually cost? Well, this is where it gets interesting. In a city like Melbourne, if you're in an accident, the fees are actually regulated by the government. For the 2025-26 period, you're looking at a base fee of about $273, which covers the first 8 kilometers. And then there are set rates for extra distance and after-hours calls.
But, and this is the critical distinction everybody should know, those regulated prices are only for accident scenes. If your car just breaks down on the side of the road, the fees are completely unregulated. The tow operator can set their own price, which is why you should always confirm the cost before they hook up your car.
All right, so your car has been towed off the road. What happens now? Well, it's basically facing a fork in the road. Is it going to be repaired for a new lease on life, or is this the end of the line?
Ultimately, it comes down to 2 main paths. Path number 1 is restoration. It heads to a repair shop to get fixed up and put back on the road. Path number 2 is recycling. It goes to a car wrecker where its real value is in its reusable parts and all that scrap metal.
For anyone choosing that wrecker path, the process is actually designed to be incredibly simple. You can usually get a quote right over the phone, schedule a free pickup, and it works for you. They handle all the transfer paperwork on the spot, and you often get paid right then and there. The whole thing is built for speed and convenience.
And hey, don't be so quick to assume your old car is worthless. Its value isn't really in the whole vehicle, but in its parts. The engine, the transmission, even the body panels. Depending on the make, model, and what can be salvaged, wreckers can pay a surprising amount of money. Some even advertise payouts up to nearly $19,000 for the right vehicle. It's crazy.
So we've covered what happens when a car gets abandoned and what to do when it's wrecked. But you know what? The best strategy of all is just being prepared before you find yourself stranded on the side of the road.
When it comes to roadside help, you're usually looking at two main models. You've got the traditional route, which is a membership where you pay an annual fee for that peace of mind, and then there's the alternative, pay-as-you-go, where you only pay for a service at the exact moment you need it. The right choice really just depends on your driving habits.
The appeal of this pay-as-you-go model is really growing, and it all comes down to flexibility. There are no annual fees, no waiting periods after you sign up. It's an on-demand approach that can be perfect for people who have pretty reliable cars or who just don't drive long distances very often.
So it's pretty clear that a car's story is far from over when the engine stops. It enters this whole other world of rules, services, and big financial decisions. I think the ultimate takeaway here is that understanding how this whole system works puts you back in the driver's seat, even when your car won't move. The only question is, are you prepared?